Frogs, nigga.
All my wrists is frogs.
Recently, just on YouTube, watching a couple of things going on, and I got a chance to check out Pharaoh and Seti going, live the other night, and they had the conversation about Farrakhan, about Malcolm X, and the whole Nation of Islam, religion, what I'm saying, information, just a lot of different things, and there was a lot of things said in that live, and just I wanted to speak to you just to also bring clarity and things to the situation as well, because I just think it's an interesting topic, and there's questions that's still being asked, and it's a lot of people and different you know information sources. A lot of people getting a chance to actually learn about some of these people, and basically, I wanted to get your information on, what if you got a chance to see the live, what you think about it, and what you thought about some of the information the brothers was bringing to light, and just, you being one of the guys who's been around for a long time, and, a lot of people are just now getting into the information and learning and growing in the times that we're in. So I just want to get your perspective, man, and just the conversation.
Well, first off, thank you for my being the captain on the ship for my maiden voyage into live stream television or internet. I feel I am in very capable hands, so looking forward to sharing news and information like this for many years to come about many serious topics that affect us as a people, both at home and abroad. At home and abroad. But to this subject, I didn't when it went live. I want to make sure I'm using the right terms. When they first were doing it live, I wasn't a part of the original audience, okay, but I did get to see it by the time it was put up, by the time it was posted. So yeah, it's a lot of information, and the temperament. I'm trying to follow it. It seems to be something going back and forth about the topic of the Nation of Islam, and I believe young brother Pharaoh offered an invitation to young brother Ben X. He's both young men, and I believe Ben X declined, and young Pharaoh proceeded in putting together a very extensive case with different clips of various individuals that have been critical of Minister Farrakhan throughout the years. And these are documented accounts of these individuals. And what's so interesting is there wasn't a single clip that he used that I had not only seen, but seen multiple times. Anyone who is touched and passionately involved, and if you're in the, quote, black awareness, black power, conscious community, all the labels just that has my head spinning. If you're a black person who cares about black people, I'll leave it like that. These stories have to have you do want to hear, because Malcolm tremendously beloved. Who would speak against that? Prince of greatness. So that's the climate that all of these things are coming out, and it's just a lot to digest. And and clearly now it's one-sided in the sense that young Pharaoh is putting all of his information to offer an indictment on Minister Farrakhan, his work, his organization, its founding, its underpinnings, some possible geopolitical maneuverings. They're mentioning Gaddafi and how monies may have been offered. There are a lot of things being stated. And what's so interesting in this medium age we live in, because these are Malcolm's words. He's sitting on Mike Wallace was one of the major news anchors at that time, but it's just there's so many layers to this because to look at the format he used to get this information out. Now I know Malcolm X was going through his transition, but remember that's after decades of this. The white man is the devil. That
Yep.
was the Nation of Islam Square. So for that to be the case, again, he was in transition. But if that's been what has been your chief dogma, and then to use his format to what some were saying to betray who was a beloved leader. That's where then the divides go. Because if you were with the nation, you have a very clear position, a clear version. If you were just maybe one of the grassroots brothers that was rolling with Malcolm, you may not have been in any organization, but you felt Malcolm. You felt him, and you loved him because where he true, and this stuff hits close to home where I live, where I am sitting right at this moment is a 15-minute walk, not a drive, not a bike ride, a 15-minute walk from where the Audubon Ballroom stood. It was probably owned by Columbia. They, changed the building around, so that overall structure of the Audubon Ballroom isn't there. But they have a nice facade in the lobby, in the exact point on the stage where unfortunately our prince was taken from us. Literally resides which within arm's reach. So I cycle through, I ride through there. So his presence, the streets he walked through, that Harlem YMCA that Alex Haley and Malcolm X sat across the street from while he was giving him different pieces of information related to the autobiography. Now, there's a layer to that. There's information about Alex Haley saying he was a this and an agent. So, I mean, the rabbit hole just keeps getting deeper and deeper. But I was just sharing some of that just to get some context of what how close this hits home in the New York cipher.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Malcolm left here. I mean, why wasn't he better protected? I mean, it hurts my heart. Who was against him? Has those who cared about him gotten him proper retribution? What is proper retribution? I'm not saying the question should not be presented, and this could be a dialogue that is needed to be had. Is this the way that it should be had? Is this the temperament that it should be had in? I don't know, and I don't know. But what are some of your thoughts, knowledge to God? This is a lot.
Um, the fact that you know the history, you've been there. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, you live 15 minutes away from where Malcolm X was actually assassinated.
Mhm.
That's deep. You know what I'm saying? I remember the first time I saw Malcolm X, the movie, myself. You know what I'm saying? It was just like it was hurtful. You know what I'm saying? To actually see that happen to him. You know what I'm saying? Like that. So that was like crazy. So with some of the things that was being said, I know a lot of people were tuned in. It's kind of like crazy to see, the fact that a guy like Minister Farrakhan, who's built, uh, through the help of everybody else who's come before him as well, Elijah Muhammad, and for those things to even be associated with him, Malcolm dying, and him being somewhat even responsible, and to
Mhm.
show his head being, what I'm saying, like, all of those things are like, I know sometimes at the end of the day people get into crazy situations, and but it's like it shows like where are we at? You know what I'm saying? What's going on? Should like, you know, should
Exactly.
like what's the true answers? Because at the end of the day, are these people who are in these high positions who are able to control a lot of different black people's minds and control where we're going? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Are those people working with people who they may say are the enemy to us? You know what I'm saying? And that shows like where it's a deeper level game than what we think. Always. It's always a
Yeah.
deeper level game than what we think. This game is bigger than all of us at the end of the day. But to see a guy like Farrakhan, even with that conversation, and his power, the people who believe in that religion, the people who, are from the Nation of Islam and who will die and fight and do anything to protect that and live, that lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Now, to know that, this is still a pawn and it's a game. and everybody else is just in a sense, just being played. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I got from watching it, in a sense, And I've seen some of these clips before, and I've, researched some of these things, but just to see it again now, again, it's like the questions come up. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right,
it's like,
right.
so yeah, just
And and this is also the dilemma for me. And I think it could be the dilemma for most. Okay, and again, getting back to the case being presented by young Pharaoh and brother Seti, related to kind of like a condemnation of Minister Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam as an organization. Okay, let's say hypothetically we accept that, okay, all of the indictment you put forth are accurate and exact, and all right, uh, based on that case, the Nation of Islam is not doing a service to the community, and we discount them. Okay, you put that aside. Now, here's where it becomes a little personal. And for everyone listening, this is where it has to become personal. And for any organization, right now we're looking at the Nation of Islam. A lot of people view the Christian church a certain way. A lot of people view other Orthodox Islam a certain way. But the thing is, make it personal in that, do you know people on that path, walking that walk? And when I make it personal like that, take away the head, the name, the organization, I know brothers whose lives were transformed through those teachings. Make what you want of them, say they're good, bad, fabricated, offshoot, not authentic. I know brothers who, whatever those teachings were, helped them straighten themselves out, turned away from a lifestyle and activity that were self-destructive, and they lived better lives. That I know. I mean, I'm talking over decades. This is not just, some short term. I've observed people's lives that were under that belief system. I've observed people's lives under Buddhism, under Christianity. I've seen people. So for me, it becomes personal. If I've seen enough people live your philosophy or that philosophy, and they are moving and conducting themselves in a way that I admire, or in a way that I can learn from and be inspired by, I have to acknowledge whatever path they're on because of what it radiates. How you live radiates from you. And if that teaching has done that, it deserves benefit. So if all they're saying is, okay, let's get the truth out, and the people at the top or in the middle, or all the bad people in this organization are going to be exposed and removed, what's these tens of thousands and these still large numbers of people that are in these organizations that appear to have gotten benefit? They live well. They are respectful people, especially the work I've done in the nation. They provided some exemplary brothers in the security field, and just some really stand up brothers. There's some brothers I know to this day, over decades, that belief system has worked for them. So my question would be, what are they saying now to the followers? Okay, I'm exposing your leaders, your group. Now, what am I offering you? Unless they're saying, okay, that's my job. Now you go scramble to find another belief system, or you find a way to put your spiritual or your belief life back together. And before we came on, I was speaking about another religious figure, our brother Dr. Ray Hagins, and for most, he's seen in a level of disfavor, in the Black Power, the conscious community, and in those who care about Black people. And for those who don't know the story, I give him the credit of being one of the first ministers, pastors, reverends to make that connection in a very impassioned way, related to the Jesus Christ figure and how it might have been constructed. And he was just waking up guys. And early on, Brother Sarnetta had him in a few times early in the career, and he was just really doing, I think, a great work. I learned some great things from him based on how he constructed, and I got a deeper level of knowledge. Okay, later he made some statements that were not of the community, so backs were turned on him, and he was seen in disfavor. But do you discount the knowledge you learned from someone? If someone opened your eyes and put you on a path, and something in their life might cause them differently, what do you do to that knowledge, to the benefit? You still owe your benefit to that person. So is that thinking too much about it, knowledge?
No, I agree. One thing I gotta say though, like with that type of situation with Minister Farrakhan having all of this power as well, because I got a chance to actually go to him speak in New Jersey. And I liked how, the whole way he had the blocks shut down, and you know what I'm saying? It was like, he moves like the president, like, you know what I mean, or something like that. Cause yeah, multiple blocks shut down, like the whole area was crazy. Like I was like, I was like, damn, this is what he possesses. This is the type of strength that he comes with, and things like that. When you look at the things that Malcolm, Khalid, some of the things that they said afterwards, after the split and things like that. Where do you put that when it comes to the charge of some of the situations that led to these brothers' deaths at the end of the day?
Yeah, another figure in Harlem, our good beloved brother, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. And I mean, we call our brothers beloved. We use the term beloved, but when you put beloved in front of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, it's so fitting. You had to love that brother. He cared about black people in a way that I don't think I've seen since. And I'm talking from the brother sleeping in the street, might be in plain clothes, in a really bad condition for days. I mean, he would greet them and elevate them and speak into their spirit in a way that it was just, that I forgot the exact word to the poem: walk with kings and also walk with the common man, and just not lose that touch, to be able to move from one to the other. He cited in his case those words, and I believe that was at the Slave Theater, if I'm not mistaken. If it wasn't at the Slave Theater, it was at Alton Maddox's. For those who have, again, back in Harlem, those two locations right here in New York, where you could. These are speeches that people sat in, and there are many people around while this history was being made that were a part of this. So right here in Harlem, so it's close to home, and these were the words he spoke. This was the separation that took place between those men. He clearly stated what his overtures were. That was a hard break to see, especially in the capacity I had an opportunity to work with Dr. Muhammad. So, okay, we shed light on this. The path of movement is still going forward. I don't think it would have as much of an impact on the movement that Khalid Muhammad left behind. But if these feelings, if this indictment is believed and accepted by the larger community, I don't know, is the goal for it to I guess the goal is for it to negatively impact Minister Farrakhan. And then again, what would that do to his followers? What would that do to people who have transformed their lives with that belief system? Do you have a plan for them? Or again, is it, okay, my job is done. All I need to do is wake your eyes up. You'll go find the truth. It's out there. Or I have some of it. Come to me. Or, okay, here's these are 3 or 4 people you can kind of step to. And not to, again, look for a leader, because I get that. And I think we need to get out of that, always looking for somebody to lead us. A lot of this can be self-led. But even when you're attempting to self-lead, you need to get knowledge and information from somewhere, don't you? I mean, we ain't so omnipotent that we just channel information. You do have to research and study and build networks. Even with all of that, you're not going to see and know everything. That's where back to community. We're not one man or one woman soldiers out here. And I think, it's a little too much of that going around. We all these, and then this medium gives us this opportunity to be these singular voices. And there's not an organization out here that could survive the scrutiny. If anybody really wanted to take their time, you could find error in any grouping of people coming together for a religious cause, a business cause, a sports cause. People come together, they're gonna have problems from time to time. The stronger organizations weather them and grow beyond them and still maintain their existence. The weaker ones, COINTELPRO, they broke organizations. Now, it's just we have to always be mindful as to what the end strategy is. Okay, we're here. Okay, people woke up. If that's required, what's the next step? Or what else do we offer these folks that were sustaining themselves with these belief systems that we're now attempting to discredit?
Mm. Um, do you think maybe that's the greater damage though? The fact that people or like that, like people are under a spell of religion and of having leaders, and that needs to be broken to the point where people can start thinking for themselves just through common sense or common information. Because sometimes I feel like the difference, like between people who are so-called conscious or conscious in this sense, it's like when you learn, like, okay, Jesus ain't real, God isn't real. Now I'm God, and I have to start, creating and being on a higher level because now I know I'm connected to the ancestors, the people who's been here before me, and now you change your whole form of thought. And for people who are in a sense stuck in a religious sense, following the scriptures, these books, and all of these things, and these leaders who have all these organizations and things like that, they're mixed in with people who's created these organizations for them. They've created like from some of the information, they created the Mecca. It's not no holy thing. It's something that they just created and made up, and now it's like, and the people literally believe the stories of what it is. So now, is it like we're just under some type of spell? So we like it's like to the point where, hey, yeah, they're doing good, but imagine the bad that they're creating that could be stopped by us not doing that and getting all these people on some, because we're in a sense thinking for ourselves, creating for ourselves. We get to more like-minded people like that. It ain't gonna be about a religion. It's gonna be you did wrong. You need to, it ain't. We're not gonna put God into this. We gonna judge each other while we down here and we making these decisions. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to creating all of this confusion. Sometimes I feel like sometimes with all of this power, with all of these things, these guys, we're in a different time now. Information is coming out differently. People are accepting it differently. We got new younger kids who are just now learning about things that's been happening before they were even thought of. But now the thought process is changing. People are, they don't have those same feelings. Now people are looking at things like, okay, some people don't know who these people are. They just know the information. So it's not the same type of, same type of, I guess, respect in a sense there anymore. And if some people feel deeply hurt, people express themselves in different ways. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to things. But do you feel like the whole religious aspect thing, that's what's creating, in a sense, that thing where, because we're still not getting back to what made us or had us on that level. You know what I'm saying? And religion has always been something that blocked. Even though we're spiritual, the religious thing is kind of something that keeps us locked in. You know what I'm saying? By these man-made books and all these passages and things like that. Like everybody has the same type of story. You know what I'm saying? Just written differently. So, what's your thoughts on that?
Yes, I mean religion is it's almost like out of the seven hermetic principles: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. Polarity. There's a balance. There's a shifting. So how far is too much? Uh, it really, really, really depends. Knowledge to God. It's. I mean, give me a little more clarity. Which, yeah,
Okay,
clarify it a little bit.
okay. Like with the power that Minister Farrakhan has with religion,
Hmm.
knowing the real things that are out there, because he's a powerful man, so he doesn't have just regular information. He knows things beyond what he tells us, because that's what great people with power do. They have great information. They didn't get there by just, they got secrets, things, you know what I'm saying? Like, to get
Hmm.
to a certain level, you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like with a person that powerful being in control of an organization like that, why not get us in a situation? They're saying he's even, working with Scientology or using Dianetics. We've heard him speak on that. And that alarmed me because I'm like, just my thought process on that. it's like, okay, no, that's our the dude who created Scientology, forgot his name right now, but
Orban Hubbard.
yeah, L. Ron Hubbard. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, okay, these things are like real. Are they real? Like, what's going on? We've heard him say things like that at the speech, and even when he speaks on religion and certain things, I like the way he puts it together. But at the same time, it's like, yo, if this ain't real, give me the real, so we can move and like get it popping with however we need to get it done. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are we?
Yeah.
You said bring 10,000 dudes ready to die. You know what I'm saying? Or, so we getting these dudes, where's the action in the sense of, and I'm not saying that we ready to just sacrifice people, but it's like, if you saying we gotta die, don't mean it gotta be a physical kill. We can get on to something where we're moving on such a level. We're killing them just by being on our great path. You know what I'm saying? It don't gotta mean, okay, we're just, yeah, some of us are gonna be sacrificed to the situation because whenever you do it first, it's the hardest. And everybody can just live off of the things you done did. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's like, who's building that to get to that next level? If you're that powerful, and I'm not saying the Nation of Islam isn't, a powerful nation and has done great things, but at the same time, it's like, I'm under the information that, this thing is man-made, man-created. There is no Allah. There is none of this situation that you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm under this perception and this understanding, from my knowledge, it's like, if you're the top of this, and and I'm looking at some of the brothers that passed away, Khalid started talking about some outside information, not just he started breaking it down, the sciences. I said, oh, he's on that next level. Malcolm was, you know what I'm saying? So why is that not coming out, or why is that? And then it's like, why are we stuck on that? If that's a little more clearer.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, and see, for me, and I think for most, if we can, for a moment, it's a good process to make things personal, in a sense, to look at what process that you go through when you are assessing something. And if you look at that, and if you find that to be a fair process, other people go through a similar assessment process. And I think once you line it up and you have fairness in that way, any problem, looking at the work that Minister Farrakhan has done or is doing or people allege was not done, it has to be looked at in a context that will shed light on places that need to be shed, but it still has to, I think, have enough of the whole picture that those hearing for the first time, because we keep forgetting the generations roll on.
Yeah.
There's some people, young Pharaoh pointed out something very interesting. I think there was the footage, extensive, well put together interview and footage that may have had 12, I think it was 12 or 20,000 views over 5 years.
Yeah.
And I bet with just the attention that he's going to be shedding light in that direction, for better or worse, people are going to be hearing first-hand information. So it's going to get out. So any organization, at some point, you have to make amends in a way, especially if it's some historical things related to your organization's either structure, movement, or something that impacts the people. If your answer isn't generational, if there will be a new group and with evidence still available, I guess they have the right to still question. Is this the way? Is this the way it should be done? I mean, what do you think, knowledge of God? Is this the way?
If I could just, make an opinion on how I think it should be done, I think, with his connection with all the celebrities and things like that, why not, get together and actually put something together with all the people that, have like minds, you know what I'm saying? And actually start creating things for neighborhoods, buying blocks. You're seeing at the end of Black Panther, he was like, yeah, I just bought all of these blocks right here. We're going to turn the community centers and, you know what I'm saying, practical things where it's like, okay, now we have that. And not just for, like you see how, in a sense, Black Panther, you look at the Nation of Islam. I'm not saying they don't look out for everybody, but of course they're going to look out for the Nation of Islam or whatever, you know what I'm saying, or any other religious people. But now they're like, okay, if we have this power and we can actually bring this to the people, let's actually bring it to our other 2 million people that's out here that needs this type of, and I'm not saying that they're Wakanda, but just if I could kind of put it together, if we're looking at them as a high, strong organization for years, decades of building and through, different things, like why don't you have the situation where we're actually sharing this information of wealth and things like that? Because it seems like one of the biggest things is always real poverty and education poverty. The fact that we don't have all the things and tools we need to not only survive in this world but also on a mental plane. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because people are more getting caught up on pills. Everybody needs to medicate somehow. You know what I'm saying? The
Hmm.
whole young generation is under a whole psychedelic trip right there. You know what I'm saying? And so
Hmm.
if you look at what's going on, it's like, if we could actually get on that situation where some of the leaders are able to work together and actually do certain things and not compromise to
Hmm.
the money or to the powerful situations that's already ahead of them. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
who knows what it is when you get in that position where people are trying to assassinate you all day, and what I'm saying, life becomes a little more real and you get to see and get more exposed to real things, death at a high rate. People getting killed doesn't become the same. It's like the
Right.
people in the military who's dropping bombs on people. After a while, it becomes a job. So when you're on that high level, you see death occurring for so many years. It's like, okay, this is you start playing the game at a higher level, and that's just my opinion when I look at this whole situation. But who are the people at the higher level that's controlling our scenario? You know, um, I do media, for Hip Hop Israel and Key Light Production. I have a platform where I can allow people to speak about whatever, and that causes ripples in the world. You know what I'm saying? So that is an amazing power that we have now. So it's like, why aren't we getting more in touch, more together? And you know what I'm saying? My
Hmm.
partner, Genuine Pro, was talking about how look at the comments. Everybody's so negative sometimes. Look at that shows the impact on the society. Like, damn, like why is it so many people throwing negativity or something like that? So, you know,
Right. Right.
so and
Why is the negative soil always so fertile? It seems that people are so quick to run with innuendo, rumor, or even I'm not even just discounting the evidence, but it just seems to feed something that we have too much of an appetite for, and we do. I would just love to see so much of this energy directly towards those who have done and are doing the most harm in all the real areas that are reducing our numbers and eliminating us. Now, with that said, I understand the importance because you can't have those among the nation that are destroying it from within. And I do believe false beliefs and individuals or organizations that their structure is based on exploiting the lack of knowledge in instances of our people, whether it's lack of knowledge about real estate, credit, business investments, even spiritual knowledge. You may not know your way around that, and people could spin a web around you based on your lack of your sincere yearning, but people can pull you towards a direction for their manipulation, either financially or just wanting to have believers and followers. That's a real goal and desire. There's some folks that want you to follow them, to
mhm.
view them, to like them, to whatever forward them, and all the other
They call
stuff.
celebrities.
Yeah, yeah, and homemade in many instances. So
Yeah.
it's just so it's people are driven in so many instances, but who can look into anyone's heart? Who knows what someone's true motive is? Sometimes I think people don't even know. I'm not gonna say they don't know what their motive is, but they're not clear of where their drive is coming from.
Mm.
Because I mean, look at this as like the analogy. The guy who gets the sports car and gets the a certain kind of designer shirt and this and that. He's getting these items in many instances. Especially younger men to be appealing to women. So the strategy is to get all of those things to appear a certain way. So there are things that you do based on the response or the reaction that you want to get. And if you apply that, I think sometimes the answers get a little bit clearer.
Mm. Um, one thing I just wanted to talk about, man, is just also, do you believe there is a level of compromise? You know what I'm saying, between Farrakhan and probably other leaders and things like that. Do you believe that, or do you, in a sense, where you're able to come here or play or do what you need to do, type of politics when it gets to that high level?
Now, when you say compromise, this a little more deep.
Um, they brought up the instance of what happened in Africa and the
Oh, okay.
things
So
like
you
that.
okay, when you say compromise, meaning someone who's now using their influence or their quote leadership for either personal benefit or as an agent to do something or allow something to happen that is negative to black people.
Yes.
Is that possible? Yeah, of course that's possible. I mean, unfortunately, our history is littered, back to some of our earliest revolts, on this soil when we was trying to put our strategies together to get up under outright oppression and brutality. There were those among us that sometimes, slid back to the back door of the big house, your massa, them boys, massa, and you get away or be collective or whatever, another piece of cornbread or a more cushy position or just fear. I don't want to belittle it, but that kind of behavior has been among us and it has delayed our advance forward. So should we expose it at all costs? Of course. Uh, and then the other part is who is the ultimate judge of an individual or an organization when it has tipped that point of corruption? Because I mean, I think, and I don't say this to besmirch any of them, but I don't believe there's not an organization of any size, that doesn't have an element of corruption in it somewhere. It's part of human nature in many respects, and I think that's across the board. The Christian
Okay.
church, sure, in the mosque, the Buddhist temples, it's just in human nature.
Okay.
You tend to favor things. You tend to want benefit. It's so ironic that all those spiritual systems are supposed to turn you away from the material and coveting, but once they get their organizational structure, I mean, look at the Catholic Church. That's one of the most wealthiest organizations on this planet. You know
You know what that made me think about? When Polite
what?
said spirituality means wealth. Like, you know what I'm saying? He said if you look it up, spirituality means wealth. So he said I'm trying to be the most spiritual dude out here. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day.